We are live. The 2023 NFL regular season schedule is underway, and we're that much closer to Pittsburgh Steelers football. Good evening. I'm Mark Bergin, joined as always by my guy, number 24 Pittsburgh Steelers scout, Ike Taylor, IT. I am fired up. We've got the dates on the calendar. Can't wait to go through the schedule here with you.
Yeah, the season here. I mean, you might as well say the season here. We already got the dates, and it's like a whole new chapter when it comes down to the NFL. Man, a lot of people been getting tickets. They talking about the dates they're going. They're talking about the plans they're making for certain games. I've been at the cigar lounge, Mark, and that's all these old heads been talking about, man. When they getting their plane ticket, when they getting their bus ticket, and where they sitting at these games and tailgating.
And you can see the full schedule on your screen right now, Ike. And before we go game by game, just looking at this on the whole, we were talking a little bit before the recording, playing twice on Thursday night, once on Monday Night Football, once on Sunday Night Football. Got a Saturday game in there as well. An early bye week too in week 6 as well. But this is just, looking at the schedule as a whole, you can see that on your screen right now, Ike. First opener as well since 2014 at home. It was the final season you played, Ike.
Yeah. Just looking at the schedule, Mark, this is exactly what the Pittsburgh Steelers needed. You got second-year Kenny Pickett. We all know how I feel about Kenny Pickett. I feel like Kenny Pickett is going to take it to the next level in his sophomore year. Looking at the schedule, I'm liking what I'm seeing. What I mean by that is, Mark, you don't want nothing easy. And looking at the schedule starting off for the Pittsburgh Steelers, ain't nothing easy about it. You starting off with some guys who I think play with the kind of intensity we play like on the defense side of San Fran. I'm a huge fan of San Fran, their defense. And, of course, I'm a bigger fan of Pittsburgh and their defense. So it's just going to be a telltale. You got the sophomore year as well and Brock Purdy. I mean, let's not deny before Brock Purdy got hurt. Mark, he was 7-0 at some point in time before he hurt his elbow.
Mm-hmm.
And towards the end of the season, Mark, nobody was playing better than Kenny Pickett.
Yeah, Ike, let's get right into this. Before we go game by game, I want to tell our listeners and viewers about our presenting sponsor, and that's betonline.ag. They'll take care of all of your gambling needs all season long. So if you want to bet on the Steelers or any other NFL team, betonline.ag is the place to do it.
365, 24/7, regardless on what sport it is, what time of the day. Make sure y'all go to betonline.ag.
All right, so week 1, this is Sunday, September the 10th, at home at Acrisure Stadium against the 49ers. I don't know if Brock Purdy's going to be back and healthy. Remember, the 49ers also have Trey Lance. They also bring in Sam Darnold. Not knowing the health status of Brock Purdy, I know this was a team that went to the NFC Championship game. If Purdy doesn't play, I like the Steelers, and I'm going to take the Steelers at home in the opener.
I mean, just coming from what GM, Hall of Famer, John Lynch said it's Brock Purdy's job to lose. And right now, regardless on what round you got Trey Lance in, man, that's just Brock Purdy's job. I mean, it's hard to not let a guy who started, 7, 8 games and won 7 out those 8 games, had the opportunity, if he didn't hurt his elbow in that playoff game, you just never know. And the team rallied around him. So that's what I like about football, man. It don't really matter what round you go in, Mark. If a guy's one of them guys and that locker room is rallying around him, you just got to ride that wave with him. And that's exactly what they did. On the flip side for the Pittsburgh Steelers, it's the same thing as Brock Purdy. Kenny Pickett, he's going into his second year, his sophomore year. In the last 6, 7 games, nobody played better other than Brock Purdy and Patrick Mahomes in the NFL than them 3 guys. So it's going to be exciting to see. Gain 13 pounds in the offseason. I'm talking about Kenny Pickett. Just getting a relationship with all his weapons. You add Allen Robinson, then you go get you another guard to go along with that picket fence on the offensive line. Then you got guys you acquired from Philly for the offensive line. So I mean, this offseason really doing this draft, they doing exactly what they needed to do. They as in we, the Pittsburgh Steelers. So it's going to be exciting on that first game in my mind, Mark.
Yeah, you mentioned Kenny Pickett. I said this on our last show. He's got tree trunks for legs. He did not skip leg day this offseason.
At all.
Yeah. Are you able to go game by game, Mike? I don't want to get you in trouble as part of your scouting duties. Do you want me to make the picks, or are you able to do that,
Yeah,
Ike?
you definitely got to make the picks.
Okay.
I'll put my little 2 cents
All
in,
right.
but
All right. I got the Steelers at home in the opener. I feel good about this. And again, this is stemming on, I don't know if Brock Purdy's going to play or not. So
mm,
this was a much different team with him at the quarterback
right.
position. I'll take the Steelers at home, not knowing Purdy's status for week one. And we'll keep this thing rolling here, Ike.
Okay.
Week two, Monday Night Football. I
Monday night.
cannot wait for this one, Ike. Against your AFC North opponent in the Browns. I say opponent, not rival, Ike. I say that out of
No, it's not a
respect for
rival.
you as
Thank
well.
you. I appreciate you.
Really, it's as simple as this. On the offensive side of the ball, you got to stop Nick Chubb. Defensive side of the ball, you got to slow down Myles Garrett. That's the key to me. At home, I'm going to take the Steelers in prime time. Mike Tomlin plays well in prime time. I'm going to take the Steelers yet again at home against the Browns.
Yeah, with the first divisional game, Mark, you want to start out the blocks hot. You don't want to fall behind. So I'm sure the Pittsburgh Steelers are gonna be looking at this like, man, let's go out on and get this party started. Let's start off on a good foot. I like our roster, and I'm just talking as I'm Coach Tomlin. I like our roster. I like how we build our roster. We're gonna see what we can do against the Cleveland Browns, and we just gonna open the playbook for Kenny Pickett and see what he can do. So that's just my thoughts on being the first divisional opponent. You always want to win your divisional games, but it's always hard because you see them twice a year, Mark. But it's gonna be a good start because it's their second game of the year. I feel like with the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Cleveland Browns.
All right, so I got the Steelers starting out 2-0, and because this is a live show, Ike, we can bring in viewer comments. Stephen
Okay.
Carpenter saying, "Here we go, Steelers." Stephen,
Yes,
thank you
sir.
for tuning in. If you guys have questions throughout this broadcast, we'll weave those in throughout the discussion as we continue on going game by game. Let's get to week 3, Ike. Sunday, Steelers at Raiders, and this is where I've got the Steelers losing their first game. Jimmy G and the Raiders. I think the Raiders are going to get some redemption from last season where it was late in the year. Steelers, 50th anniversary of the Immaculate Reception. I think the Raiders get the best of the Steelers in week 3. So I've got the Steelers starting out 2-1 here, and I got the Raiders getting some redemption from last season's game.
I mean, Mark, it's just for some reason, even when I played, regardless on what the Raiders record was, it was just always tough beating them boys. I don't know what it was, but it was just, I don't know if it was a dark cloud over our head, but every time I played them, I think I think I had a losing record against the Ravens when I played, to be honest with you. So time will tell. We'll see what Jimmy G gonna do with his new head coach. But yeah, I respect how you feel. I just know in my past era playing against the Raiders, it wasn't too good on my side.
Yeah, a great rivalry historically between the
Correct.
two franchises. Week 4, the Steelers travel to Houston, take on the Texans. I think it'll be CJ Stroud under center, the rookie, the number 2 overall pick. Ike, I think I'm going to take the Steelers considering the Texans had the second worst record. They very nearly had the worst record, if not for a Davis Mills heave in the final week of the 2022 regular season. If the Steelers are serious about being a playoff team, you got a TCB, and that's take care of business in week 4 on the road. I will say this, though, too, with this Texans team, Ike. Maybe not this season, but give DeMeco Ryans time as a first-year head
Correct.
coach. He's going to bring an attitude and a swagger, and he's going to have the Texans defense flying around the football field. It might not be the 2023 season, but when you have a good defensive coach, Ike, and you've got guys flying to the football, it's like playing against a defense that has 15 defenders on the field, not just 11. I do have the Steelers taking care of business on the road in week 4, though.
Well, you got to look at it from a quarter standpoint, Mark, how I always looked at it. Every 4 games, now it's 5 because it's a 17-game season. You got to look at how you want to do. You can go 3-1 in 4 games, and that's exactly how you want to kick off your season. Another way I look at it too, Mark, is it's another AFC game. So we just did 3 AFC games in a row. You did the Raiders, you did the Cleveland Browns, and now you're doing the Texans. All that come into a factor towards the end of the season. So you always want to at least win your division, but at the same time, when it comes down to AFC opponents, you want to start off hot because that carries over later on down the line throughout the season.
All right, Ike, week 5 against the Baltimore Ravens Always tough against the Steelers' main rival, but Pittsburgh plays Lamar Jackson about as well as any team. The Steelers are 3-2 against Lamar Jackson. He'll have some new weapons in the 2023 season. So OBJ's coming. Nelson Aguilar. In the draft, they select Zay Flowers, a first rounder. So Jackson will have some new weapons to throw to. I think it's going to take time for him to develop a rapport. The Steelers at home got Pittsburgh starting out 4-1. I do think that this will be a split, though, Ike, because it's awfully tough to beat both the Ravens and the Bengals consistently year in, year out in this division.
Well, you know how we look at the Ravens. We look at the Ravens like, I don't know if people from down south, but we don't say cousins, we say kinfolk. So we just look at the Ravens like our kinfolk. And that's just another terminology of our cousin. You just damn near looking at yourself in the mirror. It's the same recipe, it's the same blueprint. Have a good running game, play smash mouth football on defense, and make sure the quarterback don't turn the ball over, make some plays by the quarterback. Well, by the end of the day, man, the rivalry between the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Ravens just has been unprecedented. When you want to talk about smash mouth football, from when I played till now, when you get done playing the Ravens, if you playing on a Sunday, Wednesday you just getting your body back, and that's just the mentality on what it is. So it's a mutual respect. It's an understanding like that we dislike each other once we're in between the white lines. But as far as like how the organization is ran, as far as like how you draft guys to fit your personality, you just looking at your kinfolk. That's all you're doing.
Ike, you lived it playing 12 years in your career. If you had to play the Ravens on every Sunday, what do you think that number would have been? You lasted 12 years. Do you think how much shorter would it have been just given
18,
the physicality?
18 years. That was right up my alley.
Okay.
That was right. Yeah, that was right. Hey, Mark, that was right up our alley. The mentality, that locker room, the draft prospects, when you enter into the south side on Pittsburgh coming off of Carson Street to that facility, once you saw, if it was Ravens week every week, I would have played 18 years, Mark.
Ike, I love you for that. You're the absolute best. That's a tremendous answer. Week 6, we've got a bye week. So seeing where the Steelers are at after the first 5 weeks, I have them at 4-1. If they're at 3-2, 4-1, Ike, I think they're sitting pretty. And this was something that we mentioned off the top of the show where you're saying the Steelers bye week comes early. The Steelers do have 2 Thursday night games. So it's almost like mini buys in other parts of the season, Ike. So looking at the schedule, this was a concern of mine where it's like this bye week is too soon. No. Let's get it later on to get guys healthy. When you have the Thursday night games mixed in there,
it's like a bye.
Exactly.
So to be honest with you, with this bye week, it's 3 bye weeks if you look at it. If you got 2 Thursday night games. So, technically you're getting 3 bye weeks. You don't get the full bye weeks when you do have them Thursday night games. But you get a weekend and he'll see you on Tuesday or Wednesday, depending on if you're injured or not. So it's good with this 17-game stretch, especially when you got them Thursday games. But hopefully by then, and we all know who do this when he's scoring touchdowns, that's George Pickens, a.k.a. Alien. He'll be doing a lot of that by week 6.
All right, Ike, we got another viewer comment from this and that from Pennsylvania. Why do we hate the Ravens? Because they are the Browns. That is fantastic. Thank you for weighing in. And as people watch this live stream, Mike, it's fun to incorporate our listeners and viewers into our discussion tonight.
Yeah, why do we hate the Ravens? It's just a mutual respect. That's all that is. From a fan perspective, I get how fans feel. But from a former athlete perspective, when you step between them like white lines and you understand that same organization have the same mentality as you, not as long as you have had it, because obviously the Pittsburgh Steelers were pioneers and they laid down the blueprint on how football should be played. But you just got to give honor. You just got to give honor when honor is due. That roster that Ozzie Smith, the Hall of Fame Ozzie Smith, former GM, that he produced from the time he stepped in until he stepped out, you can't knock the man by winning Super Bowl and historically having good defenses as well.
Ike, I love the mutual respect, and it brings out the best in you as a player and as an athlete as well. But we will keep this rolling. In week 7, the Steelers continue on, and they'll go out to LA SoFi Stadium to take on the Rams. I would expect the Steelers to take care of business here, but I really don't know what to expect from the Rams because they don't make the playoffs after winning the Super Bowl. I'd expect Matthew Stafford to be back healthy. I guess I'll take the Steelers given how bad the Rams were. And the Rams have had a lot of players leave. Bobby Wagner won't be there. Jalen Ramsey's got a new team. You still do have a core of Matthew Stafford, Cooper Kupp, Aaron Donald on the defensive side of the ball. But again, if the Steelers are legitimate, I actually do expect them to take care of business, even though this is a road matchup. I'll take them to beat the Rams here in week 7.
Yeah, this is gonna be an old Aaron Donald versus Cam Hayward kind of game.
Ooh.
And that's just my personal opinion. In my mind, 2 first ballot Hall of Famers, from the time they stepped into the NFL to the time they're gonna leave, all they did was show us how football's supposed to be played. All they did is make a name for themselves, and you usually don't hear that when you want to talk about defensive linemen. So this gonna be, in my mind, this gonna be the battle between Cam and Aaron Donald.
Yeah. So I've got the Steelers starting out 5-1. Week 8, Sunday, October the 29th. Steelers hosting the Jaguars. Maybe I'm high on the Jaguars. Sunshine, Trevor Lawrence. I think this is going to be a team in the Jags that's going to surprise a lot of people in the 2023 season. And an AFC South division that's a little bit weaker as well. I will take the Jags to beat the Steelers at home. I've got the Steelers having their second loss of the season in week 8.
Hey, Mark, when I played, we called them the Down South Steelers. When Fred T, Maurice Jones-Drew, LeBrandon Tofield, Greg Jones, that was their backfield. We ain't even talking about their receivers. We just talking about a stable of runners who can run over you, run past you, and shake you at the same time. So you already knew when you played the Down South Jacksonville Jaguars, when I played, it was going to be 70 rushes, 15 passes. That's exactly what it was going to be. And that's exactly what they're getting back to. It's just a new generation of running backs now coming out the backfield, and they're able to catch the ball. But if you watch the second half of the Jacksonville Jaguars, all they do is play physical on defense as well. So it just reminds me where they're getting back to when we played them. We call them the Down South Pittsburgh Steelers as well.
That's hilarious. I can keep an eye out on Travis Etienne, the running back. If you're a fantasy football player, he'd be great to have this upcoming season. Trayvon Walker up front, to top pick out of Georgia. Don't sleep on him either, Ike. So I've got the Steelers slipping up at 5-2. Thursday night game, Titans at Steelers, and it's all going to come down to the same thing you're just talking about. Can you stop the run? Can you stop King Henry and company? Got the Steelers losing 2 straight back-to-back, so they fall to 5-3 here on a shortened week on Thursday Night Football.
Yeah, bring your big boy pads when you play in Tennessee Titans. So if you got an XL pad, make sure you got 3X shoulder pads, because that's exactly who you're going against, and they want to control the clock and control the momentum, and that's King Henry. So that's the task. I think you stop King Henry, you make Tannehill run the ball, you might have action. If you don't stop King Henry and you got Tannehill having them play action passes, it's going to be a long day.
I'm curious to see, too, when the Titans will bring Malik Willis into the fold, the player that the Steelers really liked coming out of the 2022 draft, Ike. So how long you stick with Tannehill, what the plan is to bring Malik Willis along, if he is, in fact, the quarterback of the future. Very curious to see that. And it's, Tannehill's been a very, very good quarterback, but can he make you a contender? I think the writing is a little bit on the wall there. So that's something else I'm keeping an eye on, but it all starts with Derrick Henry. And even when it's coming, time and time again, he's able to produce. If he can stay healthy and continue to produce at a high level, he's awfully tough to stop. So, Ike, week 10 is when I've got the Steelers getting back on track against the Green Bay Packers. And there's going to be a lot of people wondering about quarterback Jordan Love, the third-year quarterback, finally getting his opportunity after 3 decades of dominance at the quarterbacking position for the Packers between Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre. But, Ike, you tell me this all the time. This Packers defense has 8 first-round draft picks on it. 8. The offense has 1, and it's Jordan Love. So a lot of people are going to say, well, the onus is on Jordan Love to succeed. No. My focus is how this Packers defense performs because of all the first-rounders that they have on the defensive side of the football.
Well, if you just listen to the chirps in the offseason, Mark, all they've been talking about is the chemistry between Jordan Love and these receivers now. Something they didn't have when Aaron Rodgers in the offseason. Aaron Rodgers went on his retreats. He went to meditate, and Aaron Rodgers was just Aaron Rodgers and do what he needed to do in the offseason. So now they have Jordan Love in the building. You will see a better relationship. You will see a faster start between the offense because now Jordan Love wants to prove everybody he is valued as a first-round draft pick. But not only that, he wants to get that relationship with these new receivers as well. And that's all the chirping been about coming from Green Bay. Like, these guys really been bonded in the offseason because they've been spending a lot of time together. Something they really wasn't doing when Aaron Rodgers was at helm at some point in time.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Steelers to take care of business against the Packers. Even if Jordan Love lights it up, I'm still wary. And at some point, the Packers have to have like even average quarterback play, Ike, because it's been 30 years between the two guys, Rodgers and Favre. Cannot wait to see it. And we're going to see what kind of head coach Matt LaFleur is. We're also going to see defensive side of the ball, defensive coordinator Joe Barry. You've got 8 first-round draft picks on that side of the football. A lot of attention is going to be put on Jordan Love. I want to see what the Packers can do on defense. I have the Steelers getting back on track and beating Green Bay. We will continue on. In Week 11, the Steelers hit the road and take on the Cleveland Browns. Split the season series a year ago, Ike. I don't know what to expect from Cleveland. And I've got the Steelers winning again because I really don't know what to expect from Deshaun Watson. So I've got the Steelers beating the Browns twice in 2023.
I'll leave it just like that.
All right, Week 12 is the first time that the Steelers will take on the Cincinnati Bengals, and it'll be in Cincinnati. Tough matchup, Joe Burrow and company, but I look at, okay, how do you match up against your teams in the division? You go out and get Patrick Peterson, you draft Joey Porter Jr. at number 32 overall. You're trying to match up Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, to have someone that can counter both of those players. I think this is going to be a coin flip. This is also one, like the Ravens, I think they split the season series. I'll take the Steelers on the road. Maybe there's less pressure. And then I'd probably take the Bengals when they play at Acrisure Stadium. But how do you see this matchup between the two AFC North teams?
Man, I love me some Joe Cool Burrow. I'm high on Joe Burrow. I'm high on his confidence. I'm high on his IQ. I'm high on how he acts so-called under pressure, as other people would say. But Kenny Pickett got some weapons. Deontay Johnson. Kenny Pickett has the alien George Pickens. Kenny Pickett picked up a new veteran receiver, Allen Robinson. He's going to be physical. Kenny Pickett just picked up another tight end / offensive lineman in Darnell Washington. Kenny Pickett has another tight end. His name is Pat Fairmouth. Kenny Pickett has 2 running backs in Jalen and Najee Harris. So we're just going to see. So just as many weapons as people feel like the Cincinnati Bengals have, Kenny Pickett have weapons that's probably deeper on the other side from the Pittsburgh Steelers too, Mark. So this is going to be between Kenny Pickett and Joe Burrow. So I think this game will be a shootout. Of course, you picked up Keanu O'Neal to line up in the slot. He's like an extra linebacker. Then we pick up Joey Porter for damn near first-round draft pick for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And you acquire Pat Pete, old savvy veteran. And you know who's sitting back there controlling air traffic control, and that's Minka. And one thing, Minka, if it's a game he going to ball out in, it's going to be the Cincinnati Bengals. So this should be a good one, Mark.
All right, Ike, one other thing, too. The Bengals in the secondary lost both of their starting safeties. So Von Bell, Jesse Bates are both gone as well. So Bates goes to the Atlanta Falcons. Von Bell now a member of the Carolina Panthers. So you talk about all those Steelers weapons, Ike, and you're going to have new DBs in the Cincinnati secondary.
Y'all better be on the same page back there.
Ike, we'll see. I'll take the Steelers on the road. I'll have the Bengals taking care of business in Pittsburgh. I think ultimately it'll split. Tough matchup. Great matchups. I can't wait to see that. Week 13, Sunday, the Steelers host the Cardinals on December the 3rd. Is Kyler Murray playing? Another question where it's kind of hard to evaluate this, Ike, because Kyler Murray goes down with the season-ending injury. Is he back at this point? If he plays, I think he gives the Cardinals a heck of a lot better opportunity. If he doesn't, I would expect the Steelers to take care of business. If he plays, Ike, I think this might be one of those games that doesn't make any sense, and the Cardinals upset the Steelers at home.
I always look at it like this, Mark. Just keep Mighty Mouse in the pocket. Once he get out of the pocket and he start to extend plays, it's going to be hard to stop him. So just try to contain him in the pocket to have a chance to win that ball game.
All right. The next Thursday night matchup the Steelers have is against the New England Patriots, Ike. And Bill Belichick and company have gotten the better of Pittsburgh throughout the Hall of Fame coach's career. Bill Belichick is 16-12 against Pittsburgh. And then Mike Tomlin is only 3-9 against the Patriots in his head coaching career. But I really don't know. Let me put it this way, right? If you were to ask both fan bases, I think a lot of the Steelers fans have high expectations for Kenny Pickett in year 2. If you ask Patriots fans what their opinion of Mac Jones, I don't think they're nearly as bullish. I can't believe I'm saying this. I'm going to take the Steelers to take care of the Patriots at home, even against the big bad mighty Bill Belichick. I'll take Pittsburgh at home here.
Tom Brady ain't there no more.
Mm-hmm.
So we good.
Yes, short, quick and to the point. Ike, week 15, Steelers against the Colts. We don't know the exact time or date of this matchup yet. So we know it'll be in Indianapolis. The Colts draft Anthony Richardson out of Florida in the first round of the draft. So they'll have a potent running attack. Jonathan Taylor, Quentin Nelson at the guard position, as good as there is in this league. But if you can stop the one-trick pony, and that's the Colts running game, which will be very effective this year, Ike. If you can stop that, I think you can hold them in check. And I really think that's going to be the key to this one.
So I think Pittsburgh got a one-up on the Colts. And the reason why I'm saying this, you have a running back in Jonathan Taylor. What you do know about the Baltimore Ravens is they're real good in RPOs. And what you do know about Coach Tomlin, the Pittsburgh Steelers defense, if it's one team that played them well, it's the Pittsburgh Steelers defense and Coach Tomlin. So I'm just looking at this offense as an RPO offense with AR sitting if he's back there playing. So Pittsburgh already got a couple of years ahead of everybody else because they play this kind of guy in the division. Not saying AR is Lamar Jackson. I'm just saying that style of play. And if I'm an offensive coordinator, this is exactly how I'm going to use him, like a Lamar Jackson, until I feel like he's comfortable enough on throwing the football. So in Pittsburgh defense, I think Pittsburgh have a jump start on that style of play when it comes down to that kind of offense.
Ike, I wasn't sure what my pick would be, but you've convinced me. I'll take the Steelers to take care of the Colts in week 15, and the Steelers I've got at 10-4 at this point. If my math is right, I think we've got 3 games left here to go through. Week 16, the Steelers will play on a Saturday, so this is the day before Christmas Eve. The Steelers will host the Bengals. I said they would split, so I've got the Bengals taking care of business in Pittsburgh. Maybe I should flip that. I can say, hey, Merry Christmas, Steelers fans. But ultimately, I think the 2 teams will split the season series.
Yeah, so this is towards the end of the season. It's cold weather right now. And this is exactly why you got Darnell Washington. And I'm just speaking my opinion. So it's going to be a lot of 12 personnel. What I mean by 12 is it's going to be one running back. His name is Najee Harris. He's sitting at 230 pounds plus. And Darnell Washington, the six offensive lineman coming off the bench, hey, get ready and put your big boy pads on. That's how I'm looking at this game towards the end of the season for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
All right. So like I said, I would have the Steelers splitting the series against the Bengals. So I'll pencil in a loss here. We'll see, though. In week 17, the Steelers go to Seattle to take on the Seahawks, Geno Smith, Pete Carroll, and company. And their fifth overall pick, Devin Witherspoon, the cornerback, was the Seahawks' top draft pick here. Again, if the Steelers are legitimate, I think they should take care of business here. But Seattle, a very, very loud stadium. I know Seattle Stadium and Kansas City go back and forth as the loudest in the NFL. But Ike, what's your perspective of this Week 17 matchup?
This is the battle of the running backs. My running back stable better than your running back stable. And that's all that's going to be. That's exactly what Pete Carroll's going back to. 2 shutdown corners, a smash mouth safety who don't mind coming downhill like an extra linebacker, and a running game. And that's exactly what Geno Smith had last year and him having a good season. He had a running game. You got Jalen on the Pittsburgh Steelers side, and you have Najee on the Pittsburgh Steelers side. So I'm looking at it just like this. It's going to be the battle of the running backs between the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Seattle Seahawks.
All right. I'm going to take the Steelers. I'll take the Steelers. And let's go to week 18, final week of the year. Steelers at Ravens, the best for last. This is going to be in Baltimore again. We don't know the time or the date for this week 18 matchup yet again, but the NFL's best rivalry last week of the season, Ike. Very, very clever by the schedulers to give us a treat before the playoffs. Again, I've got the Steelers splitting the season series with the Ravens.
Yeah. I mean, Lamar got his money, and he's ready to play football, and he's ready to get back to playoff football.
Mm-hmm.
Kenny Pickett will have enough experience throughout the course of his sophomore season to try to get and see and feel how a playoff looks. So this going to be a game, and this going to be the telltale of playoff contention between the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Baltimore Ravens, and the Cincinnati Bengals.
All right, Ike, let me pull up the schedule again for everyone to see, for all of our listeners and viewers, so they can take a look. So let us know how you think that we did week by week. And Ike, I'm not one to wish my life away, but get me to September 10th ASAP, Acrisure Stadium, because this is going to be an awesome 2023 season for the Pittsburgh Steelers and the NFL.
I'm going to talk to God, see if he can keep us busy enough where time flies, and we'll get to September the 10th as fast as possible.
Ike, you're the absolute best. I want to thank you, the Believe Network. Today's show sponsor, betonline.ag. Ike, we've got a lot of guests lined up for the offseason starting next week. We'll have one as well. So I want to encourage our listeners and viewers to keep it here on the Believe in Steelers show. And thank you to them for taking the time for us week in and week out, Ike.
Man, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. I want to thank Mark and co-host. I want to thank betonline.ag for sponsoring our show. Make sure y'all give us a 5-star rating. We appreciate everybody just tuning in. God bless and peace.
All right. For Ike Taylor, I'm Mark Bergin. Thanks for watching the Believe in Steelers show. We'll see you next week. Until then, take care. So long, everybody.